This is Yale Smith of the Ymop Lab here in our new lab in San Antonio. I'm the inventor of the Ymop. My business partner John Nera behind the camera is my co-conspirator in this invention and the industrial designer of the Ymop. And we're here to, well, if you're watching this video, you're probably an owner, a manager, or a salesperson for a vacuum store. And we're here to show you some of the things that you're definitely going to want to show the customers when you're showing off the Ymop. One of the first things you might want to do is, even if you see a customer walking in, if you happen to have the Ymop in your hand, is to go ahead and turn it on and just let it go across the floor on its own. So it definitely is something that will catch their attention. So if by chance you turn it on and it doesn't do that, you may have a towel that's not as directional and it works better one direction than the other. So if your towel was like this and it wasn't going forward, just swap it and do it that way. And then when they come in, if they have, you've caught their attention, you know, they might even ask, oh, is that a robot? And it's like, well, it's not, but that shows you how easy it is to push, or maybe push isn't the right word. You're controlling it, one finger control. You could just move it with just really simple, no effort whatsoever.
There you go.
So that's what this little bit of a hook here is it, so you can pull it backwards and then it'll just drive itself forward. And so that might be the first thing you want to just grab their attention with.
And put it in their hand.
Yeah, and let them try it out themselves.
Their finger.
Yeah, let them try it out. Say, all you got to do is guide it, steer it, but it's doing the work for you and it's going on its own. And it's like, well, how does it do that? Well, it's operating at 4,000 scrubbing actions a minute, and that is giving you the power to make it glide. It gives it a forward drive action. Some of you might be selling or have sold in the past the Ymop, whether the original or the new Ymop 2, and the original was what, 750. The Ymop 2 is 1,050, and I mean, actually, if you combine the two of those, it still isn't even half as fast as the Ymop is. Yeah, here's actually the Ymop 2, and it's kind of interesting. They upgraded it. They made it wider because they knew wider was important. I think it's actually about slightly less than 1/2 inch wider than the original Ymop. And as you can see, the Ymop is a full 17 inches wide. So if wider is better, the Ymop definitely has it. There you go, John.
All right.
Well, what the Ymop in general is for is it is a all-surface scrubbing machine. And that's one of the big benefits of having it be so wide, is that especially on the hard floor surfaces, every pass, you're making a 17-inch cleaning pattern. And so you can cover huge areas in a very short period of time. And with that 4,000 RPMs of scrubbing, a few passes or one pass is all you need to clean an area, compared to whether it's by hand with just a sponge mop or a Bona mop or a Swiffer, heaven forbid, or even the Ymop. It's just scrubbing that much more. You're getting that much dirt that much faster. When I say all surface, I mean all surfaces. It cleans carpets as well as your hard floor surfaces. That's been my rugs, yeah, carpets and rugs. That's been my business for the last 30 years. And John was in the business also. So we have both cleaned the most expensive and valuable carpets and rugs and hard floor surfaces in the world. And when I say the most expensive, I mean we've cleaned for the who's who of the tech world and Hollywood. And these people buy ridiculously expensive items, and we had to make sure not only did they get clean, because they really cared about them being clean, we had to make sure we didn't damage anything very pricey. So not only is it very aggressive at 4,000 RPMs, it's also actually very gentle because it's a big, fluffy microfiber mop head.
Low pounds per square inch.
Yes, definitely. And One of the other key features, and like I said, I still do carpet cleaning, and one of the things I do more often than not when I'm using the Ymop is I'm utilizing this outrigger handle, the side grip. You can see it right there, and that allows you to tip it up on edge. And that puts, instead of having the full 5.5 inches by a full 17 inches wide on the floor, you can tip it up and just have one edge, or even you could be locked and you could have one corner on the edge. So you suddenly go from square inches per pound to pounds per square inch, and then you can even push down on it when you're doing that and really load it up, and it's amazing how much you can get out. Say you got some black heel marks or something like that on your linoleum floor or your ceramic tile floor.
Or however they want to demonstrate it.
Yeah,
in their,
yeah, and these are things that, and you might practice with that in your showroom. See, one of the other things that goes right along with having the ability to tip it up on edge is that you'll notice right here, we have the Velcro goes from the bottom, and so that allows you to just fold this up. And one thing to keep in mind, after you've given the mop heads a washing or two, then they get more flexible, and then they wrap up and stay up a lot better than they will when they're brand new.
Yeah, the loop on the mop head is fluffier, so it grabs the hook on the Velcro better.
Yeah, it just opens up, and it's such a key feature. You're gonna definitely want to show people that, and that's good for
Baseboards.
Baseboards, yeah, that's definitely the wraparound, goes up against the baseboard. You may want to talk about is the runtime on the Ymop. We've got 1 hour and 2 hour versions. Now, if you've only got 1 hour versions, then you won't need to talk about the difference. But when we say 1 hour runtime, we mean 1 hour in the worst case scenario. Say if you've got, like I do mostly carpet cleaning, if I've got a thick, very dense carpet and I'm using the full 17 ounces in the mop head, that's when it might only be a 1 hour of continuous runtime. Otherwise, you're going to probably get an hour and a half, possibly even a little more than that off the 1 hour. And consequently, the 2 hour is 2.5, 3 hours in situations where you're not using as much liquid in the mop head and you're using it on slicker tile floors. And you might compare that with the Ymop. They say the Ymop 2 here has an hour and a half runtime. And John actually turned it on, and just with dry mop heads, which is not how you use it, it went for an hour and a half.
Continuous runtime.
Continuous runtime.
Yeah.
But as soon as you add water, it weighs a lot. And as soon as you add, even though their mop heads don't hold very much water, it holds enough to really impact it. And then it drops all the way to about 1 hour, and that's on a slicker tile floor.
That's on smooth surface.
Yeah, if that was on carpet, it wouldn't be even close to that. So you're comparing it to the runtime on something that's on carpet, the worst case scenario with a full 17 ounces of water. That's how we get our only 1 hour runtime. And in this case,
what about a smooth surface?
a smooth surface, well, let's put it this way. A 1 hour would be 2 hours if it was tested the way they test theirs with a dry mop head on a smooth surface.
And so about an hour and a half.
Yeah, so about an hour and a half in most of your customers' uses.
Okay. Now, Gail, since you have the Wow mop, the Nelly there next to the Ymop, why don't you show them the disadvantage of the swivel handle and show them why we chose not to put a swivel handle on ours, since we were just talking about that with the side grip.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, we just talked about the side grip and how you can get up on edge, and how I feel like that is like one of the best key features.
Show them again one more time, just kind of.
Okay, I got my side grip here. I grabbed it like that. I can tip it up on edge, or even if it's locked, I can put it right on the back corner and just really put some pounds per square inch on the Ymop. Now let's try to do that. Now, actually, I can turn it up on edge in the upright position, but that makes it very awkward for a lot of situations. If you can't put it back on the back corner because you tip it down. And now let's try to tip it up on edge with the swivel handle up. I can't do it because, well,
yeah, we have a video on YouTube showing how difficult it is to even tip it on.
Yeah, they did improve the new one where if it will actually run with the locked handle up, but if you're near a counter or something like that, well, your handle's going to hit the counter. So you can't do this where you're often going to need the edge cleaning, which is near the wall. So it's not going to work.
It's very limited on
Yeah.
its use.
So it's just one of those things, thinking that a swivel handle is a feature when in fact it's a hindrance, and it takes away a key feature. And not to mention the fact that when you have both plates moving, it's a lot bouncier when you try to do something up on edge.
Why don't you point out the quality of the handle design? Like, what happens if you twist that handle?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can kind of see how it's just bouncing around here. And if I just do this, all these connection points, there's give.
Is there any slop in the tubes against the plastic on our Ymop twin turbo?
Well, no. I mean, that's where you take this and you turn it, and it's like, nope, you're not. That's one of the features of having a square tube. It just makes it a lot easier to lock it in place, and we made sure it was snug when we did it. You have a round tube, and then also they did advance to an adjustable handle, but you'll see they have the notches here, so you're limited to where you can put it. And because of that, there's just slop.
Yeah.
Slop both up and down and side to side, and then you got some here, you got some here, and you got some here. So you add all three of those joints up, and it adds up to a fair amount of slop, and it just doesn't feel as secure. It's kind of like the clank or thunk of a cheap car door or an expensive car door when you slam it. So our adjustable handle is right here. It's just flip up.
Infinite.
So no matter, right down to, fraction of a millimeter, wherever you want it, you can lock it in place, and it's snug. It's not going anywhere.
What's that used for? What is it good for?
Well, full length might be good for most people, but a shorter person might want it a little shorter, or for a lot of people, you might want it for, here, I'll shorten it up, for some upholstery. And it's a nice light 5.9 pounds or a little more with the damp mop head on there. You can do upholstery cleaning, stair cleaning, up higher on the baseboards, window sills, whatever that's off the ground that you might want to clean with it, or storing it in your closet, taking up less room, or in your car, trunk of your car, taking up less room. One of the questions that a lot of your customers are going to ask, and even if they don't, you might want to ask it for them. And they're going to ask you, well, how do I get the solution on the floor? Or where's the sprayer? Or where's the tank? And you're going to say, the Ymop doesn't have one because it doesn't need one. Why doesn't it have it? Because sprayers break, they clog, and that's a major problem.
And the mop head can hold 17 ounces without dripping.
Up to 17 ounces without dripping at all. And that's 2.5 times what the Ymop will hold in their tank. So you've got plenty to go for hundreds of square feet. Another thing about the tankless system is there's no tanks to fill up. There's no dumping, like say with a crosswave or something. You got the dirty tank you have to fill, and then you got to clean it and all that. So you've eliminated all those hassles. There's just the only thing you need to clean on the Ymop is the mop heads themselves. You're going to get to the point where you want to show them the docking station and the solution uploader. And you're going to want to use that opportunity to show off the cymatic abilities of the machine. And the best way to do that is when you pour a little bit of the solution or the solution in to the docking station here, the uploader, is to go ahead and just dip the edge and just gently dip it in there. And now you're showing them the cymatic vibrations. And you can see that, and make sure the customers see that, because what that's doing, that's actually how the Ymop is working. It's just pulling it up at a very rapid rate right into the mop head so it stays there. And it just cleans very rapidly because of that. And after you've shown them the cymatic frequencies in the docking station there, go ahead and show them the cleaning. You can, fill up and then show them that now look at that, it doesn't drip. And now you're good for hundreds of square feet, maybe even many hundreds of square feet of cleaning without reloading or refilling the tiny little tank on a lot of the machines.
And that's a question that we get a lot. How often do I have to go back and refill my mop head?
Yeah,
Not very often.
Not very often. And once they're using this thing, their floors are going to be clean. They can go for 500, 600, 700 square feet with one damp mop head. Another feature you're going to want to show the customers is our oversized, extra thick mop heads. And to kind of emphasize that is this happens to be a Ymop mop head. You can see the thickness difference there, and obviously the size difference. And one of the questions you're going to get from your customers is, well, how long do they last? And you could say, well, frankly, probably a lot longer than we want them to, because they're good for hundreds of washings. Another feature you're going to want to show your customers is the laydown height of the Ymop. That's under 2 inches. That is the lowest laydown height of any floor machine, whether commercial or consumer, that you're going to find anywhere. It goes under most beds, goes under couches, low countertops. Very useful feature, and something you're really going to want to show them. One of the features that's kind of self-explanatory, but you can point it out to them that they'll be seeing it and listening to it. It's a very quiet machine, super quiet, and so just kind of remind them of that. It's also very lightweight, only 5.9 pounds, one of the lightest machines that you're going to find out there. It's designed by pros in the United States, professional cleaners.
Who are those pros?
Well, that would be myself and my partner, John Nera. And so that makes a huge difference in the machine and how it functions, because we designed it to use it ourselves, to use it in the real world, not just some engineers that made some features.
In the most challenging situations you're going to ever find yourself.
Yeah, what we needed to do, and what certainly your customers, you want to get great results, but you also don't want to damage anything, and that's the way we designed it. One other thing you're going to want to point out is it has a worry-free 1-year warranty. Any problems, contact you. You're going to take care of it for them. Well,
what about the charger?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, one feature that you're going to want to show them, because it's very unique. John, my partner here, thought about this because, like everybody, he has a drawer full of black chargers that you can't tell the difference.
Here's 2 Nelly chargers.
Yeah.
Of different types that are not supposed to be for the same machine.
Yeah, these are 2 different Nelly chargers. Yeah, I've had the problem of like, which one is which, or is it this for my calculator? I don't know. You'll see here, Ymop printed on there, and even a tag on the plug end of it. So there's no excuse for them to plug in the long charger and ruin the machine, which is one thing. You might want to tell them that it has a little chip in there that if they plug in the wrong charger, it will know that, and if it ruins the machine, we'll know that that's what they did.
And it will void the warranty.
It will void the warranty. But
it'll help both of us.
It'll help, yeah, both you
and the customer.
And there's no reason for them to ever do that, because
no excuse.
They have it right here. So it's a great feature, and I think they'll be very appreciative of when you point that out. They'll go, yeah, why didn't somebody else think of that? Why didn't everybody think of that? So if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to contact the Ymop Lab, myself or John, and ask us any more detailed questions.
Or the exclusive distributor, Wholesale Vacuums.
Yeah, Wholesale Vacuums, Ron or Robert.